In this video tutorial, we are going to discuss about cost price, selling price, profit, loss, and then profit or loss as percentage. But before discussing profit or loss as percentage, first let's discuss about cost price, selling price, profit, and loss, these 4 points. Suppose this is a factory which manufactures some vehicles, trucks, lorries and all. This is a showroom and you are the owner of this showroom. Now, you purchased a truck or lorry from this factory for, let's say, 10 lakh. Okay, and you sell this truck or lorry. The first condition is you sell it for, let's take some different color. You sell it for 11 lakh. And the second, this is the first condition, and the second condition is you sell it for 9 lakh and 9,50,000. Right? This was 11 lakh, this is 10 lakh, and this is 9,50,000. So, in which condition, in which of these two conditions you are actually in profit? Clearly, this first condition. Why? Because this amount, that is 10 lakh, the amount at which you purchase this lorry from the factory is 10 lakh. And this is what? This is cost price. This is cost price, the price at which you purchased it from the factory. Let's denote this cost price by CP. So this is the cost price. This 11 lakh in the first condition will be the selling price, the price at which you sell it, at which you sell it to your customer. Selling price. Let's denote this with selling price. Okay, and this is the selling price in the second condition. Clearly, when you sell this truck for 11 lakh, clearly you are in a profit. And when you sell this truck for 9,50,000, you are in loss. So this condition is for profit, and in this condition you are in loss. Okay, now how much is the profit? Clearly, when you are making profit, then in that scenario your selling price is greater than the cost price. Yes, and when you are making loss, when you are incurring loss, then your selling price is actually less than the cost price. Like in this case it was 11 lakh and 10 lakh. In this case it's 9,50,000 and 10 lakh. So you incurred some loss. Now if you have to calculate that what is the profit, clearly profit is selling price minus cost price. And why? Because selling price is greater than the cost price. Only in that scenario you make profit. And what about loss? When you are in loss, your cost price is greater than your selling price, therefore cost price minus selling price. This will be the loss. Okay, so now we have a better understanding of cost price, selling price, profit and loss. Let's move to the next point. That's really very important. Profit or loss as percentage. Now if you're thinking that we already know what's a profit and we already know the loss that we can calculate from here, then what's the use of this profit or loss as percentage? Well, in this condition, like you can say that our profit is of 1 lakh. Why? Because if you calculate 11 lakh minus 10 lakh will be 1 lakh. So profit is 1 lakh. And in this case, loss, if you calculate the loss will be 9 lakh, 10 lakh minus 9 lakh 50,000 will be 50,000. So this is one way to tell the profit or loss. Another way can be in the terms of percentage. Let's profit or loss is percentage. So how you calculate it? So in this case, like the profit, when you calculate here profit, profit comes 1 lakh. In this case, loss comes 50,000. Now always remember, whenever you are calculating profit or loss as percentage, then always the base point, the reference point will be the cost price. And I tell you why. In this case, this 10 lakh is fixed. Okay, the factory sold you this truck at 10 lakh. Now it's up to you whether you want to make profit or you have to incur loss. Okay, so this is fixed, but this will vary. So let's say that here is our cost price. If you make selling price this much, then clearly profit is this much. This is selling price 1. If you make selling price, this is profit 1. If you make your selling price here, let's say the difference is this much, that is selling price is this much, therefore the difference will be what? This P2. Clearly the P2 is greater, the profit is greater. If you sell it at this point, that is less than the cost price, then the difference will be this much, right? And this difference, let's say that this is loss 1 from here. If you sell it at selling price 2, the loss will be from here to here, that is L2. The point is that this will remain fixed. Now it's up to you at what price you sell this truck to your customers, right? So since this is fixed, therefore this is the reference point, this is the base point, this is the original amount. On this cost price, you have to calculate your profit or loss as percentage. Now in this case, I'm removing this, I need some space. In this case, when your cost price is 10 lakh, you are making a profit of how much? You are making a profit of 1 lakh. You are making a profit of 1 lakh. Here I am using unitary method to explain you. Unitary method. Okay, so when this is 10 lakh, okay, when your cost price is 10 lakh, you are making a profit of 1 lakh, and at 1, therefore this will be 1 lakh divided by 10 lakh, and for 100, if your cost price is 100, this will be 1 lakh divided by 10 lakh times 100. Now if I further solve it, this will be 1 lakh divided by 10 lakh times 100, and if you further solve it, this comes 1 over 10 times 100, and this gives you 10. Therefore 10% will be the profit percentage. Now if you're thinking that why we use the unitary method in order to calculate the profit percentage in this case, you know that whenever we calculate percentage, it's always per 100, that is out of 100. And we have discussed this point in our previous videos on percentages. If you haven't watched those videos, please watch those videos. The point was that when your cost price is 10 lakh, you make a profit of 1 lakh. So at 1 cost price, your profit will be this much. So at 100, what will be the profit what is the profit when the cost price is 100? That is this much. So for 100, you calculated the amount 10. That is per 100. That is 10% is the profit. Okay. So this is the percentage profit. Now what about loss percentage? Again, for profit percentage and loss percentage, we always take the reference point as cost price. In this case, let's calculate the loss percentage. Let's calculate the loss percentage. Now, in this case, loss percentage, when your cost price is 10 lakh, the loss incurred is 50,000, right? So again, we are using the unitary method. For 1, this is 50,000 or 10 lakh. Therefore, for 100, because we have to calculate a percentage loss, this is 50,000 or 10 lakh times 100. If you solve it, let's solve this. So this is 50,000 or 10 lakh times 100. So this 4 gone, this 2 gone, right? So the loss incurred is how much? Is 5 and the symbol percent, because we have calculated for the value 100. Per 100 is the loss percentage. So 5%. Now, if you look at this one, and the same thing was in the case of profit percentage also, but I missed to tell at that time. If you look at this one, then clearly this 50,000 is what? Is actually loss, right? So in this case, when you are calculating the loss percentage, it's loss over, this is what, 10 lakh, what is that? Cost price, and times 100, right? And when we were solving for the profit, it was, the profit percentage was profit over cost price times 100. This is what? This is loss percent. So this is a formula to calculate the loss percentage and the profit percentage. Loss percentage will be what? Will be this. Loss percentage or loss percent will be loss over cost price times 100. And profit percentage will be profit over cost price times 100. I explained you how we reached to this formula, how we derived this formula, how we have derived these two formulas, and the way to derive them is the unitary method. Okay, now let's take some problems. Cost price is 72, selling price is 80. So in this case, are you making profit or loss? Clearly our selling price is greater than our cost price. Therefore, you are making profit. And how much is the profit? Profit is profit, let's denote this with P, is how much? Profit is selling price minus cost price, and 80 minus 72 will give you how much? It gives you 8, right? Now if you have to calculate profit percentage, P is what? Profit percent. This is profit over cost price times 100. Remember this formula we have just discussed in our previous slide. So this is profit is 8 over cost price is how much? Is 72 times 100. This is how much? 8 times 1 and 9, 72. So this is what? 100 over 9. Now if you have to write this, either you can divide it and write it in the form of decimal number, or we can use the mixed number. I am using mixed number. Okay, so this is a mixed number and this is the percentage. The profit percentage is this much. In this case CP is 120, selling price is 80. Clearly CP, that is the cost price, is greater than selling price. Therefore you are incurring loss. And what's a loss in this case? Loss is CP minus SP, that is selling price. So 120 minus 80 is how much? 40. Now you have to calculate loss percentage. Loss percentage is what? Loss over cost price over 100. And this is what? 40 over how much? 120 times 100. So 43, this is 100 over 3. Again, it depends on you whether you want to write it in the form of a decimal number or in the form of a mixed number. So I write it in the form of mixed number. So this is right. So this is the loss percentage and this is the profit percentage for these two different questions. The cost of a flower vase is rupees 120. If the shopkeeper sells it at a loss of 10%, find the price at which it is sold. So in this question, the cost of a flower vase is rupees 120. So the cost price is rupees 120. If the shopkeeper sells it at a loss of 10%, we are given loss percentage. Okay, we have been given loss percentage here, and that is 10%. Find the price at which it is sold. We don't know the selling price, right? We don't know this. Okay, we can solve this using two different ways. Let's take the first way. 10% loss, right? And the cost price is 120. You remember that loss percentage, profit percentage is always calculated on the cost price. Okay, loss is 10%. It means that if 10% is the loss, and if we multiply this with cost price, that is 120, this will give you the loss. This is loss percentage. So if I multiply the loss percentage with the cost price, it's clear because the loss percentage is always calculated on the cost price. It will give us the loss percentage and this is cost price. So if you solve this, you get what? You get that loss is of rupees 12. Okay. Now, since loss is rupees 12 and we know that loss is equal to CP minus selling price, right? Therefore, if you have to calculate selling price, that will be cost price minus loss. Now you can put this value. CP is how much? 120. Loss is how much? 12. So your selling price comes as rupees 100 and 108. This is the cost price. This was one way. Another way, it's very important to discuss and think of as many ways as we can. So the second way is that the loss percentage is how much? 10%. What does that mean? It means that if your cost price is 100, you incur a loss of rupees 10. Why? Because loss, profit, percentage, these all are calculated on cost price. So when 10% means what? 10% means that if your cost price is 100, you incur a loss of 10. Now, we are using this unitary method. So on 100, you incur a loss of 10. That's what loss percentage tells you. For 1, if the cost price is 1, the loss incurred will be 10 over 100. Therefore, if your cost price is 120, because we know the value for 1, now for 120, this will be 10 over 100. This is 10 over 100 and 120. Okay, so 10 times this 10, and again you get what? You get 12. That is, this is loss. For 100, the loss is 10. For 1, this much. Therefore, for 1 to cost 120, your loss will be this 12. Again, since you got this 12, your loss, you can put this value here, right? In this one, same here, this formula, and you can calculate it, the same value you'll get from here. Okay. Now, let's take another problem. Selling price of a toy car is rupees 540. If the profit, so what information we have? We have the selling price as rupees 540. If the profit made by shopkeeper is 20%, so profit percent is how much? Is 20%. What is the cost price of this toy? What is the cost price of this toy? We don't know about the cost price. Okay, again, we can solve it using two different ways. Profit percentage, loss percentage is always calculated on the cost price. Here we know that the profit percentage is how much? 20%. Right? This 20%, if we multiply with cost price that we don't know, so we are using the denotation cost price, will give you what? Will give you the profit that you are making. Now, if you solve this, you get profit. If you denote profit by P, then you get P as 25 CP over 5. Profit is equal to cost price over 5. Now, since we are making profit, it means that our selling price is obviously greater than cost price, and we can use a formula. Profit, that is P, is equal to selling price minus cost price. Right? What is P? P is cost price over 5. Selling price is how much? Is 540 minus cost price we don't know. That's what we have to calculate. So this gives you 540 equal to CP over 5 plus CP. And this gives you 540 equal to 6 CP, that is cost price, over 5. If we solve this, we get 50, 54, 22, 55, 25 and 27 equals to 6 cost price. From here you get CP is equal to 2700 over 6. If we divide this, what we get? CP is equal to 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, so 6 times 4 is 24, remaining 5, 4, 50. So cost price comes as rupees 450. This is one way. Let's discuss another way. It's similar to what we have discussed this second one. Okay, when your cost price is 100, or we can take it in this way. Okay, so when your cost price is 100, from this information, that is the profit percentage, if your cost price is 100, then you make profit of 20, right? So if your cost price is 100, you make profit of 20. Therefore, in this case, what will be the selling price in this scenario? We are using this information, right? Like what we discussed here in this case, same thing we are discussing here. When from this profit percentage, we calculate that if cost price is 100, we are making profit of 20. So in this scenario, what will be our selling price at a cost price of 100? So we know that profit is equal to what? Selling price minus cost price is equal to profit. And if you try to calculate from here, the selling price will be P plus CP, that is profit plus cost price. And selling price will come as P is how much? 20, and cost price is how much? 100, right? So your selling price comes as rupees 120. I'm again repeating, don't get confused. It's in this scenario, we are assuming from here that this profit percentage tells us what? That we make profit of 20 at the cost price of 100. So in this scenario, if cost price is 100 and profit is 20, what would be our selling price? So selling price comes as rupees 120. Now, when your selling price is 120, now we are using unitary method. Well, now we are using unitary method. If selling price is 120, your cost price comes as what? 100 from this condition. So for 1, that is if your selling price is 1, your cost price will come as 100 over 1. Therefore, when your selling price will be 540, we calculated for 1, now we can calculate for 540. So for 540, this will be, this is 100 over 120, that is for 1. This will be 100, 120 times 540. If I solve this, you get this, and this comes as 100 over 12 times 54. Then it will be 6 times 2 and 6 times 9, and then this is 50, and this comes as 450, right? So when you, from this condition, we calculate that when our selling price is 120, then the cost price is 100. Therefore, for 1 selling price, the cost price will be this much. Therefore, for this selling price, what should be our cost price? That comes as 450. So even in this condition, CP comes as rupees 450. This was very quick way, that to calculate it. But the concept of unitary method is also very, very important to understand. Okay, so you can see that from both these two ways we are getting the same answer. Okay, and hope I didn't confuse you and the concept is very clear to you. Thanks for watching.